Welcome to the background video for SOL 7.10.
Teachers are encouraged to review the strand introduction for the big picture of the standards. This is the introduction for the strand in which 7.10 falls. In the 7th grade curriculum framework, this can be found on page 24.
While all mathematical process goals for students are included in this video, connections and representations are highlighted.
SOL 7.10a and the matching bullet in the Essential Knowledge and Skills direct students to learn to determine slope as a rate of change in proportional relationships. Teachers will help students make connections with 6th grade learning of proportional relationships. The equation y equals mx and the variable m for slope will be new for students.
SOL 7.10b and the matching bullets in the Essential Knowledge and Skills require that students graph a line using the equation y equals mx or given a point and a slope. In 7th grade, students will be limited to slope with positive values.
SOL 7.10c and the matching bullets in this Essential Knowledge and Skills is the first time students will have to understand an additive relationship being different than a proportional or multiplicative relationship. For an additive relationship, students will use the equation y equals x plus b, and b will be called the y-intercept and not equal 0.
For SOL 7.10d and the matching bullets in the Essential Knowledge and Skills, students will graph the line given an ordered pair and the y-intercept, or given the equation y equals x plus b.
Here we see SOL 7.10e and the matching bullet in the Essential Knowledge and Skills. While this is shown as an individual essential knowledge and skill, making connections between verbal descriptions, tables, equations, and graphs, regardless of the relationship, be it additive or multiplicative, should be taught within 7.10a, 7.10b, 7.10c, and 7.10d.
In 6th grade, students will have learned that a proportional relationship is a straight line that includes the origin. 7th grade teachers are tasked with connecting this prior knowledge.
In 6th grade, students learned about the constant of proportionality and unit rate. 7th grade teachers extend this knowledge to create a model in the form of an equation y equals mx and introduce m to represent slope. They should help students make the connection with prior knowledge that slope may represent the unit rate, constant of proportionality, and the constant ratio between y and x. This example shows the graph and table students already know and should lead to the equation y equals 10x, where the slope, or rate of change, or unit rate, is $10 for every 1 hour.
A unit rate will represent the slope of a proportional relationship. In this problem, you can see that the unit rate would be 1/2, or the decimal 5/10. Therefore, the slope, or rate of change, can be represented by 1/2, or the decimal 5/10. This means that the y-coordinate is a result of the x-coordinate being multiplied by 1/2, or the decimal 5/10. In the form y equals mx, this is written as y equals 1/2 x, or y equals the decimal 5/10 x. Teachers should help students with the process goals of connections and representations.
Typically, it is preferable to see slope in fraction form rather than decimal form, as it is more of a direct representation of the vertical change over the horizontal change.
Teachers help students see multiple representations for proportional relationships by showing verbal descriptions, tables, and graphs on the coordinate plane with ordered pairs from the table, and help students make connections with this experience in 6th grade. Here, students begin to address dependent and independent variables. In 8th grade, students will formally identify these variables.
7th grade teachers have the responsibility of connecting vertical change over horizontal change, rate of change, constant of proportionality, unit rate, and slope triangles. This would be an appropriate time to connect the change in y over the change in x and the corresponding slope triangle. In this example, every slope triangle depicts a change of 2 units up and 1 unit right.
In upper elementary grades, students have had experience with input-output tables. In In 6th grade, the sole focus was on the multiplicative relationship or proportional relationships. It is the 7th grade teacher's responsibility to draw on prior knowledge of additive relationships and help students determine the rule and see that it is different than the proportional or multiplicative relationship of last year.
Whereas a multiplicative relationship demonstrated in 7th grade gives a resulting equation in y equals mx form, the additive relationship in 7th grade gives the equation y equals x plus b.
7th grade students will be given an equation and asked to graph it. One method is shown here where students make a table of values by substituting any value for x, evaluating the equation and determining y, plotting those points on a coordinate plane, and connecting them to make a line. While this example shows an additive relationship, students must also be able to graph equations representing multiplicative relationships in the form y equals mx.
Students are also expected to graph using slope triangles to find points on a line. Students begin by identifying the y-intercept and the slope from the equation. Then, graph the y-intercept shown by the blue point and use the slope triangle shown in red dotted lines to plot some other points on the graph shown with purple points. While this example shows an additive relationship, students must also be able to graph equations representing multiplicative relationships in the form y equals mx. This graph was created by us and will not be found in the curriculum framework.
Students can also create a table of values using slope. First, identify the y-intercept from the equation, then use the knowledge of the change in y and the change in x to find other points. Then graph the points and connect them to make a line. While this example shows an additive relationship, students must also be able to graph equations using multiplicative relationships in the form y equals mx. Please be sure to watch the SOL 7.10 instructional and assessment videos to complement your learning. The videos 612, 610, 710, 816 Linear Graphing Overview provides a connection for teachers to see the entire sequence in middle school.